In today's video, I am sharing one of our family's favorite lentil soup that freeze dries perfectly. This lentil soup recipe is very low ingredient list, but it's still very flavorful. And what I'm doing is I am rinsing my quinoa, split peas, and lentils, and then I'm adding them to my Instant Pot. And then I come back and add a couple tablespoons of lemon juice. And then actually when I serve this, there are some in my family that like to add additional lemon juice. That's totally fine. And then the seasonings are super simple with cumin, curry powder, garlic, salt, and pepper. And then it really makes a difference on what kind of broth you use. I'm using homemade broth where I can also adjust how much salt is in there and then the flavor profile of the broth. And of course you could make this completely vegetarian by using just vegetable broth, but I usually have some kind of chicken or beef broth on, and it's 8 cups of broth per recipe. I end up making a double batch here, but I will give you the original recipe in the description box. And then I put the lid on and set it for regular pressure cook for 7 minutes, and then I naturally let the pressure release for maybe 5 minutes before I go ahead and quick release it myself. And then I take the pot out of the Instant Pot and I continuously stir it until it's mostly cooled down, and then I can add it to my freeze dry trays and build my trays up to almost the brim of the tray. And then this batch I also had eggplant and a tray of apples and some cheesecake randomly. And this here I'm showing you, I'm doing a mixed batch in my freeze dryer. But I created this binder to help me keep track of what I've done, how long it's taken, is it in jars, is it in Mylar bags. This batch took 33 hours, and I'm putting these in jars because it makes a quick, in case the power goes out or something, I have something in the jars. And as a busy homeschooling mom, sometimes I just pull it out so I can have a quick lunch for the children. And then it took 33 hours, like I mentioned, and then I pull out my trays, and I'm making sure that everything feels dry, nothing's cold or anything, and I use my bench scraper. My bench scraper is one of my best tools for freeze drying, and you can see how the lentil soup kind of shrunk down when all the water came out. And I put the bench scraper to help me, and then I'll just use a spoon and kind of mash it up. And I kind of don't want to pulse it in my blender, which you can do, and I have done that for fruits and different things, but I don't want the texture to change too much when I rehydrate this, so I'm just using a spoon, breaking it up, and then I'll add it to my half-gallon jars. And I know I talk about this every time I do a freeze dry video, but that little tool over there on the left-hand side kind of takes all the air out of my jars and makes everything seal very well. And with any freeze dry recipe, I would encourage you to make the recipe to make sure you like what it is before you go freeze drying a big batch. But I do love this. It has the protein from the quinoa and then the beans, and it has the vitamins and minerals from the broth. So it's a good, well-rounded meal. And then you can always, if you're cooking it up fresh, you can add some bread to the side, but we like it with crackers. We eat it by itself, and it is a crowd favorite on here. So I hope you try it out, and if you have a freeze dryer, I hope you try to freeze dry some.